There it goes. Maybe. I don't know why it didn't show up. That's
Kevin.
I'm working on it right now. I don't know why I did that. False start. No big deal. Worst things that happen in nicer places. All right, I'm gonna get sealed up in just a second. DLC. Go capture. Well, it might just be the audio today. I don't know why it's. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a bump. I jumped the gun on that one, guys. Sorry, we had a little bit of bump in the audio and visual technician there, but yeah, let's welcome to the show. We're here as Home Jackman and John Wilson. Go ahead, John.
Thank you again for tuning in to the third episode of Hits Home Jackson with John Wilson, where it is my objective to keep the responsible, law-abiding, hardworking, and retired tax-paying citizens of all of Jackson, that's the city and the whole county, better informed on the important decisions being made and voted on by the Jackson City Council and our Jackson County Board of Commissioners. Decisions and votes that pretty much affects every facet of our daily lives. I'm John Wilson, your host, and we are again joined by my co-host, Mr. Kevin Jennings. Hello, Kevin.
John, here you go. Our mascot.
Hearing voices again.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Is that coming through up there? Okay, cool. Why is that there? Sorry about that.
So today, Kevin, we're going to discuss,
There we go.
again, a couple issues pertaining to local government. The number one issue that we'll be discussing first is the Jackson County Farmers Market.
Okay.
And then we'll discuss the City of Jackson's MLK Junior Drive street reconstruction project and a few other millions that are being spent along with the street reconstruction for business development along MLK Boulevard. So today, again, two local issues that affects us, and you always have to remember, we all have to always keep in mind that our local tax dollars go to local government, state government, and federal government. And both issues today deal with federal government dollars, federal government grants. Now, the Jackson County Farmers Market, I'm not sure when it is expected to open, but it's under construction as we speak. And this will be located within the old prison armory.
Okay. Or the Armory Yards area.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, the old prison yard, and within the walls there, within those old prison walls.
Yes.
So, anyways, that property was acquired by the Jackson Enterprise Group back in the early 2000s, and that's when they built the Armory Arts apartments. And they've since been sold, the apartments. They
Yes.
are no longer run by local or state government. We have a private entity that runs those apartments. But the grounds itself was taken over from the Enterprise Group by county government.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly as to the reason why, but Jackson County taxpayers now own that property.
Right. Isn't that probably why they use it for the fairgrounds parking and things like that?
That was that was one of the reasons that they said that they purchased it, was for fair parking.
Okay.
And now again, a couple of the buildings are being renovated, and these are old buildings.
Yeah, it's the oldest prison in the state, right?
Right. Yeah.
It was the first state prison,
Yes, it was.
if I remember correctly.
Right. So, anyways, a couple of the buildings, I'm not sure if it was the garage, the old cafeteria, whatever those buildings may be that are being currently renovated to house the new farmers market.
Right.
County government, through the Parks Department, Jackson County Parks Department, received about a $700,000 Spark grant.
Yes.
Spark grant. Now, the Spark grant was created, and the Spark grant is administered by the state. Okay, then they allocate it to local units of government for various reasons. The Spark grant was created from the American Rescue Plan Act fund, federal dollars. So those are federal dollars that were then allocated to the state, and then the state allocates it to local units of government to do such things, such as farmers market,
Right.
walking trails, etc. From what I understand, it's also through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, not their trust fund, just through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. So this grant that they received, the $700,000, along with a $60,000 grant from somewhere else, well, from our pockets, of course.
Yeah.
Where the grants derived from originally. So, anyways, the $70,000 first grant is being applied towards the grounds itself, leading up to the building. And then the buildings, of course, I'm not sure how many hundreds of $1,000s it will cost to renovate those old buildings into a farmer's market. And once the farmer's market is completed, the county will contract it out to a nonprofit to run it.
Oh. Okay.
And this will be administered through the Jackson County Parks Department.
Okay. Russ in the chat just put up a good point. I wonder how Keys Market feels. Keys Market and Cooper feels about this.
Sure.
Because that's a private business, but they're facing, government owned.
Government competition.
Yeah. It's
Unfair government competition.
Yeah, because those people don't have to come out of pocket at all for this. I mean,
no, it's coming from our pockets.
Yeah, right. And their pockets, actually.
And then the vendors, of course, they lease out space.
Right.
And then they sell their goods.
Right.
I'm opposed to this, okay?
Okay.
And the primary reason I am opposed to this county-run farmers market is because we already have a government-sponsored farmers market.
Right.
Grand River Farmers Market.
I didn't know if that was government subsidized or not.
Through the Downtown Development Authority.
What
Downtown Development?
What about the farm market they have every once in a while down across from the hospital?
That is part of the Grand River Farmers Market.
That's all connected.
All one.
Okay.
And that's all connected through sponsored by our City of Jackson Downtown Development Authority.
Our tax dollars.
Yes. Now, the reason I'm certainly not opposed to healthy eating and all the good things that they do sell in these farmers markets.
Right.
But do we really need a county-run farmers market located within the old armory, within the old prison walls, which is only a half mile?
Yeah, stone's throw
From Louis Glick highway there, running through downtown, only a stone's throw away from the DDA's farmers market.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure what days the county-run farmers market will be running, but currently the DDA's farmer market is Tuesdays at the hospital, or across the street from Henry Ford, located on the corner of East Michigan Avenue and Waterloo.
Yes.
And that's on Tuesdays. And then Fridays and Saturdays, the Grand River Farmers Market is run out of the parking lot right there to Grand River Brewery,
Yes.
right there on the off of Louis Glick.
Yeah.
So anyways, again, not sure when the county will be, number one, opening, and then what day their farmers market will be open. But is it going to be open at the same time and day?
I'm sure it will be.
Right. Well, Friday and Saturdays are big days.
Yeah, it's a kind of a big farmers market day.
Yeah, and maybe even Sunday. But again, how many farmers markets do we need, especially within a half mile of each other? And like you just mentioned, and like this live chat said, right down the street there from a privately run, who was it? Keys. Yeah.
Keys, yes. Keys,
Market. Yes, Keys. And so Keys, then again, on those certain days, they're going to be competing with not only the DDA farmers market, but also the one right down the street within the prison yards, the new county farmers market.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I am opposed to government-sponsored farmers market. And I did reach out to the DDA, messaged them a few weeks ago, and I did ask them if they would still be operating when this new county farmers market does open. And they immediately responded, and they told me yes. And their response was, the more the better.
I don't know about all that.
No, I know.
I mean, the more the better. You're just watering down the hole here. The watering hole's getting a little thin.
Sure. And this idea of a farmer's market was first brought up back in 2023. And two of our county commissioners, now again, it's the county commission who were the final approval for this county farmers market.
Right.
First it goes through the county parks department, and then on to the full board of county commissioners for their approval. And they unanimously approved it. But back in 2023, I'm going to read you a couple quotes from a couple current county commissioners, okay?
Okay.
And the first county commissioner back in 2023, he said, and this was out of a article out of MLive. Commissioner Ray Snell said, and this was back in 2023, I'm enthusiastic about this, but I think the timing is wrong. We have a jail to look at. We have maintenance on a lot of county buildings. And now we're talking on another project, another building that needs to be repaired now.
Yeah. And we're still dealing with a lot of those issues. Yes. I mean, the jail's still falling apart.
Yes, we are. Yes. And again, Commissioner Ray Snell, no disrespect, but he was opposed to it in 2023, but voted in favor of it in 2024 to move forward with the construction of this farmers market. Commissioner Earl Pileski, he was quoted as saying, quote, as far as I know, and the more good we can bring, the better. No, I'm sorry, that was a DDA quote, okay?
Okay.
Earl's quote, I'm sorry, at the same meeting that Ray Snell voiced his opposition, Commissioner Earl Pileski said, quote, he was warm to the idea of a farmer's market, but says it would take, quote, a substantial private investment, end quote, to make it happen. There's no private investment here.
Yeah, I didn't hear you mention one thing about a private investment.
No private investment. So both Commissioner Snell and Commissioner Pileski, who were not so warm to this idea of a farmer's market back in 2023, again, voted with the 7 other commissioners back in 2024 to move forward with this.
Weird how peer pressure works.
$700,000 project. And again, the $700,000, I'm sure it's going to take more than $700,000. And this was a spark grant, okay?
Yes.
This was a spark grant. And according to the county parks chair of the county parks, he stated that no county money will be spent on this farmer's market.
Oh,
We've heard that before.
until it has to be.
Until it has to be. So they have received again $700,000 in a Spark grant to construct and operate this farmer's market. How far is that going to go? And the condition of these buildings, it seems to me, and I'm no engineer by any means, but looking at those old buildings in there, it's going to take quite a bit more than $700,000.
I've been in a couple of those buildings, and I mean, I'm no engineer either, but I'm like,
Right. And again, with county officials saying it's not going to be, paid for by the general fund or anything. Well, once this grant money does run out, maybe they'll apply for more and receive more. I'm not sure.
I'm sure they will.
But going back to the county parks department, we have a millage that we pay on, and we currently have 18 Jackson County parks. 18 Jackson County parks. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to make this new farmers market area, the armory area, another county park like they did with Keeley Park, the old fairgrounds, because currently the Jackson County General Fund does not fund the parks or the Parks Department. All their money that the Parks Department runs on, operates the parks on, is from the Jackson County millage. So apparently the millage that we are currently paying on, that when we first passed this millage a few years back, it was for to operate 16 county parks. But now again, we have 18 county parks, and I'm not sure if they're going to someday soon include this new farmers market as a county parks or not, because it's being administered by the county parks department. This farmers market, it's being administered from the county parks department, which tells me the funding is going to be from the parks millage. And if so, our commissioners need to be upfront about that and explain that to the general public, because right now I'm a little skeptical on how far this $700,000.
Oh, a quick second, sorry. Technical issues. And you're good to go. There you go.
I'm not sure again on how.
You should be good now.
And again,
sorry. Did we lose it?
there we go.
Yeah, we're all right. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
Just that we had a cord going bad on me, and I had to do it.
Okay. Now I'm not sure, Kevin, where maybe I was cut off at.
But sorry.
Again, you were taking care of technical issues, and so again, I'm not sure how far the $700,000 Spark grant will carry this farmers market forward. But again, I'm skeptical that it's going to carry it that much forward as to where the county parks department is going to have to eventually spend money from the parks millage in order to run and operate this new farmers market. A new farmers market, again, that I'm opposed to, mostly because of the fact that we already have a farmers market run by the City of Jackson Downtown Development Authority, operating Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So that's my little rant on this farmers market.
Right.
And again, I'm not opposed to farmer markets, not at all. I frequent them. I patronize them every now and then. I should more, but the one I do patronize is down there at the Red River.
Yeah, that's the one I've always gone to.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they are going to be in deep competition with another government-run farmers market. One is enough.
That's the one I've always gone
How we doing with the?
Oh, we're doing all right. It's just the audio's a little off. I'm being picky,
Okay.
so sorry about that. Didn't
No,
mean to
that's-
distract you.
That's fine. That's fine.
Can the county legally transfer money from the parks millage to the farmers market? Russ is asking.
We're going to have to wait and see on that one because currently no general fund dollars from the county's general fund is used to operate and maintain our county parks. And this farmers market was at first passed by the county parks department and then moved on to the full board of county commissioners for their approval. And if it's not going to be funded from the county's general fund, then there's only one other fund to fund it from, and that's from the county parks millage.
Right.
And when we passed that county parks millage a few years back, we passed it with the understanding that we were going to operate and maintain 16 county parks. But now we have, since that passage of the county parks millage, we have two new parks.
Okay.
One being Keeley Park, and I'm not sure where the other park is located, but Keeley Park being one, and that's the old fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And as soon as the voters did pass the county parks millage, that was for 16 county parks. It wasn't a couple months later, they turned the fairgrounds into a county park.
Yeah, now we're just looking at 17, 18.
That was number 17.
17 is a big park.
17 is a very big park.
With a lot of buildings.
Sure, right. And someone brought up the fact, I think we discussed this just briefly before when we touched on the farmers market back in our first episode.
Probably.
Someone said to me, if the county's going to have a farmers market, why don't they run it right out of one of those fairground barns? We're a better place could you have a farmers market
than in a farm barn.
And a farm barn.
Farm barn.
Sure. And they're clean. They're not being used. You know, we don't have any cattle in there. We don't have any pigs, roosters, chickens, rabbits at this time in there.
No.
So rather than spend $700,000 of American Rescue Plan Act funding
right
on this farmers market, how about if we save the taxpayers a little money and just operate that farmers market out of one of the fairground barns?
Because that seems logical, and logic doesn't seem to be playing much of a role in a lot of decisions lately, it seems like. So,
mm-hmm. And again, that American Rescue Plan Act funding could have been used for many other projects.
Yeah, I thought the county,
necessary, essential government projects.
A farmer's market isn't essential.
It's a non-essential.
Very not essential. I mean,
right.
It's
one of those nice things that people like walking paths, biking paths.
Right.
Those are nice things. And I say nice things is because I was at a county commission meeting a few years back, and I was there to present a public comment. I'm not sure on what subject matter. And a longtime county official, elected official, township elected official, county parks board member said to me, "Wilson, nice things cost money."
Anyways.
And I said, "You're right, nice things do cost money. But what else costs money are the essential services that government is supposed to provide to its citizens."
Absolutely.
And if we have enough money left over, then sure. Go ahead and do some nice things. But as long as local government, county government ask you and I, the property owners, the homeowners, to pass a millage for this or for that, then they need to start prioritizing what essential and non-essential spending is.
Absolutely. Pops, my dad always has a great analogy that you have a house with a beautiful, you have a beautiful deck, but it needs to be redone. But you also have a hole in the ceiling and a hole in the roof.
Right.
Well, do you fix your deck so it looks nice, or do you fill the hole in the roof so that you don't get rained on?
Sure. And we all know through the last 3 years, 2 years? How many millages did the sheriff ask for, and how many the voters declined? Three
Yeah.
straight millages.
Yeah,
Three,
two in 1 year.
2 in 1 year, and one previous was a few years back. And part of the argument is with that is, why didn't our county commission set aside funding through the years after the first millage had expired,
Uh-huh.
the millage that the Channer Road jail was built with?
Yes.
Why didn't they start setting aside money to help out with the Wesley Street jail,
Yeah.
and or whatever money they needed to construct a maximum security unit out
Right.
on Channer Road?
Right. Well, it's a multiple security unit because
Right.
they can only have the level ones there. And,
Right.
but you're absolutely right. There's
Yes.
no foresight. They wanted nice things instead of essential things.
There you go, Kevin.
Yeah.
They wanted the nice things, and
Yep.
they kept voting for nice things. Lots of paths and lots of, walking paths to the moon and back.
Yeah. Well, was it the falling water?
Falling
trail?
Waters.
That's a beautiful trail.
Sure it is.
I've used it once ever.
I've used it a few times, but I use Cascades
Oh yeah.
often.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Often. And I just live next door to the Cascades, so
Makes
I
it
use
easy.
their walking paths on a regular basis. And those are walking paths that are being paid for by the county parks millage,
Right.
that I was skeptical about back when they passed it, and now I know that I had good reason to be skeptical because as soon as the voters passed that parks millage, shazam, we have a new park.
Yeah.
And that's Keeley Park.
Yep.
Changed from Jackson County Fairgrounds to Keeley Park.
Nice things instead of essential things.
Nice things.
I think we found the name of today's episode.
Nice things.
Nice things versus essential things.
Right. All right. That's the county issue for the day,
All right.
Kevin. And again, once that farmers market opens, I wish them well, and I hope they make enough money where they don't have to dip into the county parks millage kitty to help fund it going forward.
Unfortunately, I don't know if they have the foresight of that either, where they're just thinking, well, we have this and just in case, and so who knows? Nice.
Right.
Crazy. Now, the other thing is that obviously, since that's county ran, and then you said that the one at Grand River is DDA, which is city, correct? So are the two government entities not talking to each other at all? Because they're literally stepping on each other's toes in this situation, right? I mean,
right. And again, when I did message off to the DDA asking if they planned on staying open and competing with the new county farmers market, their response, and it was an immediate response, was the more the better.
Oh.
So, but then again, I'm not sure what they charge the vendors for a spot. But again, hopefully $0 will have to be taken out of our parks millage.
And that should always be the plan.
And again, the county will subcontract out a nonprofit. And from what I understand, well, I did read it. The nonprofit is Grow Jackson.
Okay.
Grow Jackson. And they will be running the county farmers market.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's like how they, the county's setting it up, and then they're like, we're just going to dump it on a nonprofit, which the nonprofit, I mean, nonprofits profit. Somebody's making money off of it at the end of the day. Sorry about that.
Sure. And again, with what we both consider this farmers market being non-essential.
Yes.
The jail, which is essential.
Yeah.
Is still an issue.
Yeah, it's crumbling. I don't think people realize how bad it is. We had the sheriff on the other show, the Stick to Plan podcast, and he showed us some pictures. They're talking about how there's a good chance that part of that jail falls into South Jackson Street. I mean, that's an extreme circumstance, but there's a giant crack.
Well, what should have been done in the first place was to find the money, and there was plenty of money. Lansing is sitting on plenty of money from the federal COVID dollars, Infrastructure Act money, ARPA money, that they could have pretty much constructed a maximum security unit
Yeah.
on Channer Road
Yeah.
and close up Wesley Street.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be done.
I voiced my opinion on that the last couple of years on the pot of money that Lansing is sitting on. They received $7.2 billion in ARPA funding.
Billion with a B.
The state did. And then they, again, turn around and allocate it out to local units of government for a lot of nice things.
Yeah, like Leone Township has a really nice blacktop over their parking lot at their township hall now.
Mm-hmm. That was paid for from ARPA funding?
Yeah, as far as I know. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. I'm sure Russ will tell me.
If they needed it, that's infrastructure, and that's as far as I'm concerned, was essential. Now, I don't know how bad the parking lot was.
It needed to be done, but they went beautiful blacktop, no concrete. No, they went concrete. Yeah, they went concrete instead of blacktop. Sorry. Right. And which is much more expensive.
Sure. And again, some of that ARPA funding could have gone towards to help Sheriff Schutte with again the construction of a maximum security unit and a unit, a wing for the female inmates.
Yes.
Instead, we're pretty much back to square one with Channer Road still being without a maximum security unit, without a female wing, and Wesley Street still open. Being funded by, thankfully, Commissioner Kennedy got funding for Wesley Street.
They went line by line on that.
Line by line.
Yep.
But at the same time, we lost some road patrol, county road patrol. Yep. So at the same time, we're losing road patrol. They're approving a farmer's market.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Russ in the chat brought up a good point too. Is the jail is not only an essential thing; it is a legally essential thing.
Right.
The sheriff has to maintain a jail. He doesn't have to maintain even road patrols.
No,
but he has to maintain a jail.
Mm-hmm.
And well,
yeah. And again, I pleaded for the most part with the county commissioners and our county officials, our county administrator. Lansing has allocated funding for other counties to assist with the construction of new jails for those counties. Yet Jackson County never even attempted to get any money from them for the construction of Channer Road. Instead, they thought you and I were going to voluntarily vote to raise our property taxes to fund a new jail, a new Channer Road jail. And that I was supposed to, only because I knew they were sitting on plenty of billions of dollars in Lansing that could have gone towards a new Channer Road jail. So, all right, Russ, how about if we move on to another multi-million dollar city project? Okay. In the news this week has been the groundbreaking for the new MLK Junior Drive reconstruction reimagine project.
Right.
And this new MLK Junior Drive will run from Morrell Street south to South Street.
Okay.
South Street is where the end of the city limits that goes then into Summit Township.
Yes.
So we're going to have a new MLK Junior Drive. And whether you like it or not.
Right.
And this project, the street reconstruction project alone, is being funded by a RAISE grant, a $7.5 million RAISE grant.
Okay.
And RAISE is an acronym for
raising your taxes. What? Oh, sorry. Continue.
It's an acronym. RAISE is an acronym for Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. That
sounds like RAISE. A lot of politician words.
Yes, yeah. That's a nice word, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice word. Yeah.
So the city applied and received a $7.5 million grant that can be used just for the reconstruction of MLK Junior Drive. And they're going to narrow it down. What they're trying to do from what I've seen in drawings is they're going to make it as like our downtown West Michigan Street project, the downtown dig. Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to narrow the street and have bump outs. Okay. For parking.
Okay.
And streetscape and so forth. And as far as I'm concerned, if the city of Jackson can fund out of their general fund, out of the major street fund, local street fund, sewer and water enterprise funds, dig downtown, that's how it was funded.
Yeah.
No federal dollars, some state dollars, and other than that, all local dollars.
Right.
To reconstruct West Michigan Avenue for downtown, I don't blame those advocates, those who are advocating for South Side reinvestment,
Yeah.
for asking for the same.
No, absolutely not. And the only thing I think of is I'm thinking that stretch of road, and it almost maybe because I've never imagined it that way, but if they were to do that, it almost seems odd for that stretch of road. But I mean, I'm not an engineer.
Okay, well, we've all been down MLK Junior Drive,
Yeah.
Francis Street.
Yeah.
That's one of the nicer major streets condition-wise in the city of Jackson.
Yeah.
So they're tearing up a perfectly good street for this project.
Right.
Included with this initiative is $4.5 million that is being taken from the city's American Rescue Plan, ARPA fund, for business investment, business reinvestment down MLK Junior Drive.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what businesses are down that stretch.
There's not many.
Yeah.
Decades ago, there used to be a lot.
I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a lot. And since we don't have the businesses that we once had down Francis Street. Now, there's many reasons why we don't. But as far as our city officials are concerned, Mayor Mahoney, City Hall's DEI CEO, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Chief Executive Officer John Willis.
I want to know what he gets paid.
Who's also a county commissioner that represents the South Side. There's been no investment from the city for decades on the South Side. They've been investing. They've been investing on the north side. You think of Northwest Avenue.
Oh yeah.
Okay. West side, I'm not sure where. Well, west side down Wisner Street, of course, North Wisner Street.
Yeah, that's all beautiful through there.
Right.
I mean, West Michigan all the way out to
east side. They're going to start working on.
Yep.
But the south side, their argument was there's been decades of disinvestment from the city for the south side. Now, whether you agree with tearing up a perfectly good street to reconstruct a reimagined MLK Junior Drive that they believe and hopefully will come to fruition, have businesses up and down that stretch, okay, that's all well and good. That'll be a good investment. So they're taking $4.5 million from the city, from City Hall's ARPA funding. They received $31 million.
Okay.
$4.5 million of it is going towards an entrepreneur real estate fund that will fund current businesses that are in the MLK district, which pretty much runs right down MLK Junior Drive. And then down Prospect Street, that's all part of the district.
Right.
And just pretty much the south side.
Yeah.
Okay. So they are giving away grants ranging from $25,000 to $50,000 to current business owners, prospective business owners, property owners that would like to open up a business along MLK Junior Drive, and nonprofits. So they have a fund, and out of that $4.5 million, I think just about $2 million is going to go towards these entrepreneurs, current businesses, prospective businesses, and nonprofits that will hopefully open up and thrive in that area.
Right.
Time will tell. But again, it's $4.5 million along with $7.5 million.
Right.
We're talking $12 million
Yeah.
to invest on the city's south side.
And it sounds like the chunk of it is being invested in the hopes that redoing the road will drive business.
Right. And I'll go back to the downtown dig or dig downtown.
Yeah.
The project that started back in 2018. Not sure exactly what year that started, but again, that was all funded by the city of Jackson, some state dollars, but the majority from the city of Jackson. So again, whether I agree or not with this MLK project, I guess they're deserving of the same thing that the downtown businesses received. Now, the downtown businesses didn't receive a entrepreneur fund grant.
Right.
They did not have anything like that. But what the downtown businesses, those owners of the properties along West Michigan Avenue that were part of the dig downtown, they weren't assessed zero. They were assessed zero, not a dime for that dig downtown.
Okay.
The same can be said now for the MLK Drive. The property owners along MLK Drive are not being assessed a dime for a totally new street that they'll have in a year. They're not being assessed a dime. The homeowners or businesses or those empty lots, whoever the owners are of those empty lots, they're not going to be assessed a dime for the street reconstruction for MLK Junior Drive. Just as those downtown businesses and property owners, building owners in the downtown weren't assessed zero. They were assessed zero.
Okay.
Again, that money came out of the local major street funds, water and sewer enterprise funds, and some state dollars.
Yeah.
And
well, it sounds like downtown. I mean, the businesses down there had already technically paid for it. To not be assessed.
Well,
if it came out of those funds, then, and I could be mistaken.
You mean they already paid their property taxes?
Yeah, paid the property taxes, and that's, that fed those funds that, what I'm saying, if that makes sense.
Well, it does. It makes perfectly good sense. But I don't agree with it because I believe every property owner, number one, if they're not going to be assessed, and it's unfortunate because as I live on a neighborhood street in the city of Jackson, that we had a total street reconstruction done 11, 12 years ago, and I paid $6,000 in a special assessment to have that done. Either you assess everybody or you assess nobody.
Good point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can't assess anybody for a street project, then I guess that street just doesn't get done.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that before. If they vote, if everybody in the neighborhood says, no, I don't want to raise our taxes, well, then you don't get a road.
51%.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And City Hall, the last few streets that are currently under reconstruction are being funded from city major street funds, water and sewer funds, because those property owners did not want to pay the assessments.
Oh, okay.
So the city again granted them a free street. And you would think of it, we should all have free streets.
Yeah.
We already pay our taxes for.
Right. Yeah. I thought that's what taxes were for.
It is. It should be. But then again, we got to let's go back to those nice things that that are paid for.
Exactly.
And believe it or not, the Michigan Transportation Department, where our gas taxes, part of that is siphoned off for nice things.
Right.
And a lot of the walking and biking paths throughout the city, county, townships are paid for from believe it or not, our gas taxes.
Right.
Along with the Michigan Department of Natural Trust Fund, Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund.
Okay.
And those funds are derived from oil and gas extractions.
Okay.
On state lands. And then they turn around and allocate those dollars out for all the nice things.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine. That's all well and fine. I just don't agree with the fact that they're taking any part of our gas tax dollars and applying it towards walking and biking paths.
Oh no, that doesn't make any sense.
But it's happening. it happens.
Yeah.
And again, it's for the nice things.
Right.
And maybe they just don't want us driving cars. They would rather have
Well,
us
yeah,
biking and walking.
Well, if the state had their way, we would all be in electric cars. But
Sure. Now again, going back to MLK though, whether I agree with the whole $12 million project or not, now the street reconstruction, and that's $7.5 million of it. Okay, so that's all okay going to happen, but the $4.5 million that's being awarded out to individuals who plan on opening a business, who already have a business, this entrepreneur fund, this real estate fund, no, that $4.5 million should have never been allocated for this project. If they want a street reconstruction with no assessments, that's all well and good. As far as I'm concerned, let the magic of the free market take over from there. Once they have their new street, and if a prospective business wants to open up, then do so. You have a beautiful brand new street with streetscapes, everything.
Yeah. It makes sense. It sounds like it's the classic. I've noticed it so much on the federal level and the state level, where they will push a bill and it sounds good on the surface, but then you read about it and they squeeze little ins and outs in there.
Right.
And no one knows about that stuff. That's not on the ballot when, the title of it's way different than what is actually included.
And again, I'm sure they probably wouldn't have this entrepreneur fund or real estate fund if they didn't have that money from the American Rescue Plan Act.
Right.
That ARPA funding. And again, that was part of the $31 million that the City Hall received, that they set aside $4.5 million for this specific fund, rather than, as far as I'm concerned, taking that $4.5 million and applying more towards our infrastructure,
right,
neighborhood streets, lessen our assessments with some of that $4.5 million, and spend it on the essential. On the essential rather than the non-essential. I'm not saying these individuals who do want to open up a business, who dream of opening up a business along MLK Drive or in that district, good for them,
Right.
But that $4.5 million could have been better spent elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just as that $700,000 federal grant that's constructing a new farmer's market could have been better spent elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
On the essentials. So with this MLK, they're on their fourth round of awarding these grant dollars. The first grant took place in December 23. Okay. There were 5 awardees who were awarded $50,000 checks, $50,000 each. That equaled out to $250,000.
Right.
$250,000 to the first 5 who were awarded the entrepreneur fund grants.
Okay.
The second round, which took place in just last year in May 10th of 24, they had 10 awardees who received just over $400,000.
Okay.
And that ranged from $25,000 to $50,000.
Right.
You had a couple of the awardees who received $50,000 from the first round.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a couple, but these are established businesses.
Okay.
I know them both. I'm not going to name them.
Right.
The established businesses, they have now received $75,000 in these entrepreneur fund grants.
Right.
They have a third round that was awarded in December of 2024. That was $385,000 that were awarded to 8 winners. So if you do all the math there, 400, 650, that's over just close to $1 million they've already handed out in these entrepreneur fund grants to these prospective
or existing businesses.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot about the existing businesses thing because I was trying to think of any new businesses down that corridor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm sure there are, but I just can't think of any of that. I would be like, oh, that place obviously invested $75,000 in their business.
Right. And again, I'm not going to name the business, but there are two businesses who have received grants that have sunk a lot of
Okay.
money
And
into their existing businesses.
honestly, that's in business. That's not a ton of money.
No, it's
but
not.
but I mean, it's a help. It's grants aren't made to completely take care of it. It's supposed to help you so you can
Sure,
you make a better
sure.
business. So
And then there are some who, I believe, plan on opening up a business.
have they?
No, they haven't.
Oh,
And I'm sure the MLK CIA. Now the MLK CIA. That's a nice acronym for, of course, the for the court. It's MLK CIA is the Corridor Improvement Authority.
yeah.
It's a 9-member board. 9-member board. The mayor sits on the board. The John Willis, our city's DEI CEO, sits on the board, and along with 7 others
Right.
from the community.
Okay.
Now, most of them from the South Side community. You got a few bankers in there, etc. But this board, this 9-member board, are the ones who approve the entrepreneur fund grants
Okay.
to be awarded. Okay, they're the ones who've approved so far 3 rounds, and they've got another round to go. I believe there was 2.5 million total that was going to be allocated from
Okay.
the 4.5 million to these entrepreneurs.
Right, and they've already awarded $1 million, so we're looking at another $1.5 million right in there.
Yes,
I mean,
unless I'm mistaken there, I believe there it was 2.5 million
Okay.
that was set aside for this entrepreneur fund,
Yeah.
for these entrepreneur fund grants. Now that also more than likely includes this $1 million that they have sitting in a real estate fund.
Right.
Now I'm not sure what this real estate fund is going to fund.
Right.
I have an idea though, because just in the last couple months, this city hall, for the most part, determined that they're going to build a grocery store
Yes.
on Cooper Street.
Yes.
And I believe it's 5 acres that's currently owned by consumers and part of it by the city.
Okay.
So maybe this $1 million real estate fund, this $1 million that's sitting in this fund,
Yeah.
is going to be applied towards that. And there's also a few $1 million they have set aside that's going to go towards this grocery store.
Uh-huh.
We touched on this also
Yeah.
a few weeks back, but that's just all part of this whole reimagined MLK Junior Drive project.
Oh, okay.
It's all South Side, and part of it is a new grocery store. Now there are those who favor this grocery store, and there's some pretty loud voices who are opposed to it, and they're making themselves very public in their opposition. They feel that this grocery store should not be located in this area that they're talking about locating this grocery store.
Right.
We don't even know who the grocer is yet either.
Yeah. Who knows?
But anyways, the original plan was, and the city purchased property just right off of Prospect and MLK Junior Drive. You remember the old Family Dollar?
Yeah.
It used to be a Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Then the Rite Aid closed up after a short period of time. Now it's a Family Dollar.
Yeah, Family Dollar and a Dollar General combined. It's something weird.
Right. So just behind there,
yes,
the city bought this large parcel of land. I'm not sure what the size is, but that was where the city was going to open up a grocery store.
Okay.
And that's in the heart of the South Side.
Yeah.
According to the proponents of those who favor having a grocery store right there on that parcel rather than down the road across the street from Airline Drive there.
Right.
And on that 5-acre parcel of land. So I'm not sure, again, what this $1 million is for, but I'm only speculating that it could be for the purchase of this 5 acres of land that they plan on putting a grocery store.
Yeah.
Whoever the grocer may be, we don't have one, apparently the talk is that there is one interested, and they also have a few $1,000,000 to give that grocer
Of course.
to build a grocery store.
I think I was talking with my dad. We were talking about the grocery store idea and stuff like that, and how, well, if where they're talking about was a viable place for a grocery store, do you think that why wouldn't one of these major grocers come in and build one there privately?
That's how it's supposed to work.
Because it's not a very viable place, apparently, for a grocery store.
And all part of this is from the years of the demise of what once was Francis Street.
Right.
You're too young yet, Kevin, but I remember Francis Street having many, many more businesses, and Prospect Street having businesses.
Yeah.
And those businesses are no longer there.
Yeah.
Now there's a few factors involved as to why they're not.
Yeah.
But they're not there.
Oh yeah. I remember my grandmother talking actually about the South Side a lot, and how prosperous it was.
Sure it was.
And like you said, a lot of factors are based in there, but it's not the same.
It's not the same at all. And let's just be blunt about it. What drove those businesses out was crime.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That was it. And unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, today, let's hope if those businesses do open up along there and they have a grocery store, that they're successful.
Yeah,
That's what we all want.
Yeah.
So we can get a return on our investment.
Exactly. Thriving businesses. I mean, empty lots and empty buildings do the city no good.
No.
You know, it actually only propels crime and makes it worse.
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely. We can be against it or for it, but at the end of the day, I hope we all hope that, hey, I hope it's successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing at the end of the day, you know.
Right. So we just talked about millions and millions of dollars that are being spent. Millions. And they're all derived from federal dollars, federal tax dollars. Now, where are those federal tax dollars? Where do they originate from? They originate from you and I, starting right here at the locally. That's where the federal government gets their money, and then they decide to give it out here and there.
Yeah.
And so when you think of these projects that are taking place, they're taking place only because of the federal money that is available to both the city and county governments, so they can apply and receive these grant dollars.
Yes.
And to spend some of it on infrastructure, but a lot of it not spent on infrastructure.
Yeah. A lot of it spent frivolously.
And on, again, non-essentials.
Yeah. Nice things instead of essential things.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, sir.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, we just talked about millions and millions and millions of dollars, and
a lot of information in this episode.
yeah, there's a lot of numbers.
Oh yeah.
And everyone has to always just be aware of the fact that those dollars come from our pockets.
Yeah. Always.
And I remember, I'll leave this politician unnamed.
All right.
He used to sit on the city council, and he said one time, and I got up and spoke during public comment on probably some non-essential spending.
Uh-huh.
And it was for some non-essential spending. And this city council member turned and said, if we don't spend it, somebody else will. There lies the problem.
Yeah, that whole idea of I remember reading about silly laws, and one I remember was in East Lansing. On Sundays, women in public have to wear lipstick. And the reason that law was passed is because there was extra money at the end of the year. They didn't want it to go to waste. I'm like, well, where does it go, though?
Right.
Yeah, who knows?
Right. All right, Kevin. Well,
right.
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. What did that put us at the...
not sure, but we'll have two more. We're going to have
22nd.
Couple issues. They're endless.
Always.
The issues are endless.
Yeah.
The spending is endless.
Yeah, it never ends.
It never ends.
Never ends. So yeah, that puts us up to the 22nd. It looks like, which is pretty good. And guys, make sure you follow us on Facebook. I put the link in the description for you so you can figure out everything that's going to be going on. We're here every other Thursday, 1 p.m. Make sure you follow this channel, like this video, and anything else today, John?
All else as well.
Alrighty, well, everybody have a good one, and
All
we
right.
will see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks again.
See ya.